There comes a moment in a woman's life when everything she once leaned on crumbles. Relationships end, friendships fade, the phone goes silent, and even her own strength feels like it's slipping away. It's the kind of moment that doesn't come with warning, and when it arrives, it shakes her to her core. She feels alone, unseen, uncertain of who she is without the people and plans she used to count on. But what if this moment, this aching silence, is not the end, but the beginning of something sacred? This is the holy breaking point. It may not look like holy ground. It looks like unanswered texts, late-night tears, mornings filled with anxiety, and evenings filled with memories that sting. But hidden beneath that heartbreak is something eternal beginning to take root. Because when a woman is left with no one but God, what's truly happening is not destruction, but divine construction. God has not forgotten her. He's making room. Many of us believe transformation happens in loud, triumphant moments, in conferences, in crowded churches, in visible victories. But for the woman who's been chosen for something deeper, transformation begins when everything else falls away. The silence that surrounds her is not a punishment. It's preparation. It's not emptiness. It's sacred space. Paul once wrote in 2 Timothy 4:16-17, "At my first defense, no one came to my support, but everyone deserted me. But the Lord stood at my side and gave me strength." That's not just Paul's testimony. It's the blueprint for every woman who is called to rise in faith. When everyone else disappears, God steps in, not as a consolation prize, but as the cornerstone. When the crowd leaves, the King arrives. And he doesn't come to observe, he comes to build. In this place where she's surrounded by silence, God begins to speak. But it's not the kind of speech that drowns out fear or blasts away doubt. It's a whisper, and it's often only heard when the world around her finally grows quiet. The loneliness she dreads becomes the very atmosphere where she hears his voice clearest. The God who seemed distant in the noise is suddenly near in the stillness. But let's be honest, this moment doesn't feel holy at first. It feels like failure. It feels like rejection. It feels like the unraveling of everything she thought she had figured out. But God has a pattern. Before he builds, he breaks. Before he reveals, he removes. Before he promotes, he purifies. And that's what's happening now. Jesus, the Son of God himself, did not begin his ministry in public celebration. He began in the wilderness, alone, hungry, tested. Before the miracles, there was isolation. Before the crowds, there was quiet. Before the cross, there was crushing. And before the resurrection, there was silence. Why do we think our journey would be any different? What feels like divine distance is often divine closeness in disguise. God is not withholding support. He's becoming her support. The people she once depended on had to step back so that the one who never leaves could step forward. And when he steps in, he doesn't just comfort. He transforms. He aligns. He restores. This is alignment, not abandonment. God is not cruel. He's careful. He's a master craftsman, removing what won't support the weight of her calling. He sees what she cannot, what's weakening her roots, what's blocking her vision, what's distorting her identity. And sometimes, the only way to heal those places is through solitude. In this sacred season, he is drawing her into deeper intimacy. He is awakening something she didn't know was sleeping. He is calling out the woman who was buried under expectations, applause, and external affirmation. Here, in the holy breaking point, she doesn't just survives, he surrenders. Not in defeat, but in discovery. She discovers that God is not her plan B after people walk away, He is the foundation that remains when everything else is shaken. He is not the echo after the noise. He is the voice that was waiting to be heard all along. She begins to understand that being alone is not the same as being abandoned. Being still is not the same as being stuck. And being hidden is not the same as being forgotten. This breaking is not the end of her story. It's the start of her becoming. There is a power forming within her now, a strength not built on circumstance, but on truth. A faith not reliant on feelings, but on promises. A vision not shaped by others' opinions, but by God's affirmation. In this season, when she has no one but Him, He is showing her who she really is and, more importantly, who He has always been. If you are in this place right now, if your heart feels heavy and your world feels silent, take a deep breath. You are not losing everything. You are gaining something eternal. You are not falling apart. You are falling into purpose. You are not alone. You are being aligned. God is in the silence, and He is just getting started. There's a strange quiet that falls after everything change. A silence that settles in when the familiar voices go silent, when the constant messages dry up, when even her own thoughts seem unsure of what to say. It's not the kind of silence that soothes. At first, it's unsettling. But over time, it becomes something sacred. This is the stillness where God begins to speak. Because when a woman has no one but God, He doesn't shout to get her attention. He whispers. And that whisper is powerful. It's life-altering. But it can only be heard in stillness. So often, life gets loud, not just with sound, but with demands, the opinions of others, the expectations she tries to meet, the endless scrolling and comparing and striving. And when all of that fades, when God, in His mercy, begins to quiet the external chaos, what remains is a holy stillness. The quiet doesn't mean God has withdrawn. It means He's cleared the room so she can finally hear Him clearly. That's the whisper that changes everything. He lets the relationship end, not to punish her, but to position her. He allows the unanswered messages, the shifting friendships, the abrupt silence, not because she's unworthy, but because He wants her undistracted. What seems like rejection is actually redirection. And what looks like being forgotten is actually being chosen. God does not compete with the noise. He doesn't fight to be louder. Instead, He gently waits for silence. Because His voice doesn't demand attention, it transforms it. He doesn't need a stage to speak. He needs stillness. And sometimes, the only way to get her attention is to take everything else away. So His whisper is the only sound left. And when she hears it, something shifts. She starts praying, not out of obligation, but out of desperation. She opens Scripture not because it's routine, but because it feels like oxygen. She stops quoting verses to impress others and starts clinging to them like promises. In the quiet, her faith becomes real, not performative, not dependent on a crowd, not surface level, but rooted, raw, alive. Stillness strips away the noise, but it also peels back the layers. Without the voices of others shaping her every move, she begins to ask the deeper questions. Who am I when no one's watching? Who am I when I'm not performing, pleasing, fixing, or striving? Who am I if I'm not defined by who loves me, who leaves me, or who validates me? And in that questioning, God answers, not with labels, but with truth. You are mine. In Genesis 16:13, Hagar, a woman thrown away by others, cried out in the wilderness and gave God a name. El Roi, the God who sees me. She wasn't in a palace. She wasn't surrounded by applause. She was alone, wounded, and wandering. And yet God found her there. He didn't forget her. He saw her. That same God still sees women in the wilderness. He sees past the pain, past the fear, past the trying and the tears and the brave face she puts on. He sees the daughter under the exhaustion, the warrior under the weariness, the purpose under the pressure. And he speaks not to who she pretends to be, but to who she truly is. And that's when her identity begins to heal. She starts to see herself not as someone's backup plan, not as someone who's too much or not enough, but as a daughter of the King, loved, chosen, held. Not as a mistake, not as a problem to be fixed, but as a woman being formed. She realizes that God is not what she runs to when everything else fails. He's the foundation she should have been standing on all along. And in the stillness, she starts standing. She no longer chases the voices that once defined her. She stops asking broken people to tell her she's whole. She no longer needs to prove her worth because she remembers who gave her worth in the first place. In this quiet space, her confidence doesn't come from applause. It comes from knowing she is already seen, already loved, already called by name. Stillness births strength. Because stillness is not inactivity. It's incubation. It's the sacred pause where identity is rewoven with truth. It's where the clutter of who she thought she had to be gets cleared away, and the clarity of who she truly is begins to emerge. The strength she builds here is not flashy. It's not loud, but it's unshakable. And the faith that grows in silence is the kind that stands when the storm comes. God is not just speaking to comfort her. He is speaking to prepare her. For the woman who is silent before God today will be a voice of strength tomorrow. And the stillness that now feels like a setback will soon be seen for what it truly is. Sacred ground where her foundation is rebuilt. So if you find yourself in that quiet place, if the phone is quiet, the nights are long, and the familiar voices are gone, don't rush to fill the silence. Sit in it. Listen. God is speaking, and what he says in whispers will one day roar through your life like purpose. This stillness is not punishment. It's invitation. It's not emptiness. It's intimacy. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. And the whisper you hear now, it's calling you back to who you truly are. There comes a moment in every transformative journey when God begins to remove the supports she once depended on, not because he wants her to collapse, but because he wants her to stand. It is one of the most misunderstood seasons in a woman's life. Everything she relied on, approval, affection, plans, control, predictable routines, begins to slip away, and she feels as if the ground beneath her is disappearing. Yet what she cannot see at first is that God isn't taking stability from her. He's giving her a new foundation. It's what Scripture calls learning that the Lord is my portion. Lamentations 3:24. Not a portion, not an optional ingredient in the recipe of her life. The portion. The only part that cannot be removed, taken, changed, or shaken. But God knows she cannot truly discover that unless everything else she depends on stops working. That is when the crutches fall.
We don't always notice when something becomes a crutch. Sometimes it's relationships, good ones, broken ones, or comfortable ones. Sometimes it's the illusion of control, thinking if she plans enough, works hard enough, or predicts every outcome, she'll be safe. Sometimes it's validation, the praise that becomes her oxygen. Sometimes it's the routines she created not out of purpose, but out of fear. And sometimes the crutch is the identity she built on what others think, rather than what God knows. And God, who loves her too much to let false supports hold the weight of her destiny, begins the careful process of removal. This season feels brutal at first. The job she thought she needed suddenly ends. The person she assumed would stay forever unexpectedly walks away. The dream she spent years nurturing seems to slip beyond her grasp. Her plans, once so clear, dissolve into uncertainty. She wonders what she did wrong. But the truth is, she didn't do something wrong. She outgrew something small.
God isn't breaking her life down. He's breaking her out. The difference between bondage and breakthrough often begins with subtraction. Growth rarely feels like addition at first. It feels like loss. But what she calls losing everything, heaven calls making room. God removes what she thinks sustains her so she can discover who truly sustains her. If she only leaned on people, she would never learn to lean on God. If she only trusted her own plans, she would never experience His better ones. If she only moved when she understood everything, she would never learn the miracle of walking by faith. That's why the crutches must fall. There is a powerful truth buried inside every great calling. God will disrupt anything she depends on that isn't Him. Not because those things were evil, not all crutches are sinful, but because they are insufficient. People can support her journey, but they cannot complete her. Achievements can affirm her gifts, but they cannot define her identity. Control can organize her world, but it cannot secure her future. So God lovingly interrupts. He lets the plan fail so she stops worshiping her blueprint and starts trusting His voice. He lets the wrong relationship end so her heart has space for the right alignment. He lets the door close so she stops forcing entry into rooms He never called her into. He lets exhaustion overwhelm her so she stops trying to do everything in her own strength and finally learns to rest in His. This is divine training, not divine cruelty. The pain she feels is not punishment. It is God teaching her to walk. Just as a child cannot learn balance while clinging to a parent's fingers, she cannot learn spiritual strength while leaning on fragile supports. God knows the weight of her calling requires a different kind of stability, a faith that does not crumble when people leave, when circumstances shift, or when feelings fluctuate. This is why the wilderness always precedes the promised land. Not because God hides blessings, but because He removes illusions. He strips away the belief that something other than Him can sustain her. In this place, she learns to say what she never could have spoken while surrounded by applause. God is enough. Not theoretically, not poetically, but experientially. The moment she realizes God is enough is the moment she becomes unstoppable. Because a woman who does not need to be validated cannot be manipulated. A woman who is not desperate for attention cannot be controlled. A woman whose identity is rooted in God does not retreat when rejected. This is the power of holy independence. Not the independence that says, I don't need anyone, but the one that says, I know who my source is. She doesn't build walls to keep others out. She builds spiritual muscles that allow her to stand whether others are with her or not. She can love without losing herself. She can give without becoming empty. She can serve without being enslaved. God is not making her less emotional.
He is making her less dependent on emotions. He is not making her less relational. He is making her more discerning about relationships. He is not making her less capable. He is making her more anchored. Because now, her confidence is not connected to outcomes, it's rooted in presence. Her value doesn't fluctuate with opinion, it's grounded in truth. Her steps are no longer driven by anxiety. They are directed by peace. This is the transformation happening under the surface. While she feels exposed, God is strengthening the spirit within her. While she grieves what she lost, God celebrates what she's gaining. What once made her fragile is being replaced with something holy, resilient, and eternal. And slowly, something miraculous happens. She starts to stand. Not on her achievements, not on people's approval, not on predictable circumstances. She stands on God. She stands on promises. She stands on identity. She stands on truth. And the woman who once trembled at the thought of being alone now walks with a confidence that confuses her past. The crutches were not removed to make her fall. They were removed so she could learn to rise. If you are in this season, if your plans have unraveled, if relationships have shifted, if everything familiar feels removed, don't panic. You're not being left empty. You are being liberated. God is not taking things from you. He is taking limits off you. Let the crutches fall. You're about to discover you are never meant to walk with them anyway. No one welcomes pain. No one prays for brokenness. Yet it is often in those very places where tears fall freely, where dreams lie shattered, where prayers feel unanswered, that something eternal begins to grow. When a woman has no one but God, the pain she experiences becomes more than just suffering. It becomes her teacher. It becomes her altar. And it becomes the sacred ground where purpose is conceived. Pain strips away illusions. It removes distractions. It silences the shallow and summons the deep. Suddenly, she's no longer satisfied with surface-level faith. The pain demands a real response, a deeper cry, a truer surrender. And in that raw, aching place, she meets God not just as Savior, but as Sustainer. There's a reason God doesn't waste pain, because pain never leaves us the same. Look at Hannah, the barren woman in 1 Samuel chapter 1. Misunderstood by her husband, mocked by her rival, overlooked by the people around her. Her womb was empty, and her heart was breaking. But it was in that place of desperation that she poured out her soul to God, not with rehearsed words, but with groans too deep for language. The priest thought she was drunk, but God knew she was birthing destiny. Hannah's pain did not repel heaven, it invited it. She did not pray the way she used to. She didn't pray for comfort. She prayed for purpose. And out of her suffering came Samuela, prophet who would anoint kings.
Her pain pushed her into the presence of God in a way that ease never could. That's what pain does when it is surrendered. It transforms from torment into training. This is not to glorify suffering. God doesn't delight in your pain, but He does dwell in it. He draws near to the brokenhearted, not just to console them, but to awaken them. Because there are some truths, some revelations, and some depths of faith that can only be accessed through sorrow. James chapter 1 verse 24 says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." Pain is not always a punishment. It is often a process. It refines, it reveals, it reshapes. A woman who has walked through pain and met God in it is never the same. She no longer panics in storms because she's seen the one who walks on water. She no longer trembles at rejection because she's known the embrace of the one who never leaves. She no longer needs the approval of others because her pain taught her to hear the voice of the Father. And through that pain, she changes. Not all at once, not without struggle, but deeply. Because pain demands honesty. When she's hurting, there's no more pretending, no more hiding behind spiritual cliches or perfect Instagram captions. It's just her, raw and real, before the throne of grace. And that is where transformation happens. She learns to worship with tears in her eyes. She learns to pray when the answer hasn't come. She learns to believe not because it's easy, but because she knows who her God is, even in the dark. Some of the strongest women in the Bible were formed in sorrow. Ruth lost her husband, her home, and her sense of belonging, but her loyalty and courage led her to divine purpose. Esther was taken from her people, forced into a palace not of her choosing, but in that place, she rose to save a nation.
Mary said yes to a calling that would bring her both glory and grief, but her surrender birthed the Savior of the world. Each one encountered pain, and each one discovered purpose on the other side of it. Your story is no different. If you're walking through heartbreak, don't rush past it. Sit with it. Invite God into it. Ask Him what He's revealing. Ask Him what He's refining. Let the tears fall. They are not wasted. Every tear is seen. Every groan is heard. Every ache is accounted for. God is not standing at a distance waiting for you to get over it. He is kneeling beside you, collecting every tear in His hands, whispering, "I'm doing something in this that you can't yet see." And here's the truth. Some miracles are only conceived in mourning. Some breakthroughs only come after the breaking. Some revelations only rise from rock bottom. This is the mystery of the kingdom. What the enemy meant to crush you, God is using to crown you. She who weeps now will dance later. She who feels abandoned now will testify of His nearness. She who feels forgotten will soon declare His faithfulness. Because when pain becomes your teacher, the lesson is lasting. It teaches compassion. It teaches wisdom. It teaches gratitude. But above all, it teaches dependence, not on yourself, not on others, but on the God who never fails. The crushing you feel today is producing oil. The silence is producing strength. The loss is producing clarity. And the ache in your soul is birthing a deeper anointing. So don't despise this season. Don't rush to escape it. Don't numb it, run from it, or shame yourself for it. Lean in, because the very pain that feels like it's breaking you may be the very place where God is making you. And when the day comes, and it will, when you rise from this pain, you'll carry something deeper than before. You won't just have survived. You will have been transformed. You'll speak with more grace. You'll walk with more wisdom. You'll love with more courage. Because pain, when surrendered, doesn't leave you empty. It leaves you prepared. Stop. Bandanoi. Continue. ChatGPT Danai. Part 5. Her true identity, rediscovered in God's eyes. When all the noise fades, when the people stop speaking, when the roles she once played dissolve into silence, there begins a holy unveiling. Not of who others say she is, not of who the world expects her to be, but of who she truly is in the eyes of God. And this unveiling doesn't happen on a stage. It doesn't happen in the applause.
happens in solitude. It happens when a woman has no one but God. Because so much of her identity, like so many of us, is shaped by external voices. The opinions of friends, the validation of family, the expectations of culture, the comparisons that haunt her quietly as she scrolls through filtered lives online. Over time, those voices layer on her soul like heavy garments, and before long, she can't recognize her own reflection without them.
But when those voices go silent, when God allows the mirrors to crack, she begins to see clearly. She is not too much. She is not enough. She is not a failure, a burden, or an afterthought. She is not defined by who stayed or who left. She is not labeled by what she lost. She is not the sum of her struggles. She is not the narrative others wrote about her. She is who God says she is. And the silence that once felt like punishment becomes the space where His voice reintroduces her to herself. This was Hagar's experience. Cast out, unwanted, wandering alone in a desert. She had no tribe, no title, no status, no plan. But in that desolate place, she met God, not in the grandeur of a temple, but in the wilderness of her pain. And she gave Him a name no one else had, El Roitha, God who sees me. That's identity. Being seen by God and realizing that His sight is the only one that matters. Because when God sees her, He sees what others overlook. He sees beyond the mistakes, beyond the trauma, beyond the masks. He sees the little girl inside, who was once told she was too loud, too sensitive, too ambitious, too emotional. He sees the teenager who felt invisible in a crowd. He sees the woman who has carried others for so long, she forgot how to carry herself. And to each version of her, He says, "You are mine." This truth begins to reshape her from the inside out. She no longer lives for recognition because she is already known. She no longer needs to strive for love because she is already chosen. She no longer hustles to prove her worth because she is already called. In the stillness, she sees that she's not just part of a story. She's part of God's story. She sees Deborah's fire in her boldness. She sees Ruth's loyalty in her quiet strength. She sees Esther's courage in her willingness to stand when others shrink. She sees Mary's surrender in her whispered yes. And slowly the pieces of herself she had forgotten begin to return, not as fragments, but as sacred reflections of heaven's design. She no longer needs others to name her. God has already called her daughter. She no longer needs titles to validate her. Her identity is anchored in eternity. She no longer fears being misunderstood. She is intimately known by the one who formed her. This rediscovery is not about becoming someone new. It's about becoming someone true. Because somewhere along the way, life taught her to edit herself, to play small, to suppress the call, to keep quiet so others could be comfortable, to overgive so she wouldn't be left, to shrink so others wouldn't feel insecure. But God never asked her to be less. He asked her to be His. And in this place of quiet rediscovery, He reminds her, you are not weak. You are learning where your real strength comes from. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not invisible. You are intimately seen. You are not behind. You are being built. You are not empty. You are being prepared to overflow. This is the deep healing that can only come from divine identity. It's not about perfect self-confidence. It's about holy confidence, the kind that rests not on what she can do, but on who He says she is. It's not performance. It's not pride, it's presence. The presence of a woman who knows who she belongs to and refuses to shrink to fit a world that never made her. In her solitude, she finds sanctuary. In her silence, she finds clarity. And in her stillness, she finds identity. So if you're in that season where the noise is gone, the opinions are quiet, and it's just you and God, don't rush to fill the space. Sit in it. Let Him speak. Let Him reveal. Because you are not just in transition, you are in transformation. And when you come out of this hidden place, you will not be the woman who entered it. You will be a woman marked by heaven, filled with clarity, anchored in truth, and utterly unshakable in who you are. You are not lost. You are being found. You are not undone. You are being unveiled. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. Let God name you again.
Let Him remind you of what He saw when He formed you in the secret place. Let His voice become your mirror, and you will risen not as someone trying to prove herself, but as someone who knows exactly who she is. There is a kind of strength that cannot be shaken, not by rejection, not by delay, not by silence. It's not the strength born from applause or success or visibility. It is the kind of strength forged in solitude. And when a woman walks through a season where she has no one but God, that is exactly the kind of strength He builds within her. Her faith, once delicate and circumstantial, becomes durable, not flashy, not loud, but tested, anchored, and unwavering. It is the kind of faith that stands when the answers don't come. It keeps believing when the breakthrough feels late. It holds steady when the storms rage louder than the promises. And that kind of faith doesn't grow in crowds. It grows in quiet corners, in tear-stained prayers, in whispered, "I trust you anyway," declarations when everything in her wants to give up. This is where she becomes dangerous to the enemy, because nothing can move a woman who has already lost everything and found God in the rubble. She no longer serves God for outcomes. She serves God from relationship. Her praise is no longer tied to what He gives. It flows from who He is. Her confidence no longer rides the roller coaster of people's opinions. It's rooted in God's unchanging truth. And her joy is no longer dependent on circumstances. It is found in presence. His presence. Habakkuk said it best in Habakkuk 3:17-18. Though the fig tree does not bud, and there are no grapes on the vines, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in God, my Savior. This is not a joy that ignores pain. It's a joy that transcends it. A woman who has this kind of faith is not naive. She's been through hell and chose to keep worshiping. And that kind of woman cannot be stopped. She's no longer fragile. She's not waiting for everything to be perfect to live her purpose. She's not waiting for applause to step forward. She's not begging for approval to speak truth. She's not measuring herself by timelines or comparing her process to others. She knows that God's timing is never rushed, never random, and never wrong. The isolation she once hated has now become her secret place. It's not her prison, it's her preparation. It's not where she's been punished, it's where she's been processed. Like Elizabeth, hidden for 5 months after conceiving John the Baptist, Luke chapter 1, verse 24, she realizes that some of God's holiest works begin in hidden places, not because He's ashamed of her, but because what He's building in her is sacred. Purpose grows in quiet places. Calling is conceived
in silence. She is not being shelved, she is being set apart. The loneliness that once felt like delay now feels like design. What looked like rejection from people now reveals itself as protection from God.
He didn't let her attach to the wrong things because her assignment was too important. He didn't let her settle in temporary comfort because he was preparing permanent purpose. God hides what he intends to use. He separates what he plans to elevate. And when the time is right, the woman who was hidden will emerge not needy, not broken, not hesitant, but full of fire and clarity and calling. She won't look like what she's been through, but she'll carry the power of it in her voice, in her presence, in her spirit. And people will ask, where did she come from? And heaven will answer, she came from the secret place. Because the crushing didn't destroy her, it anointed her. The wilderness didn't make her bitter, it made her wise. The silence didn't steal her voice, it gave her something worth saying. And now, she doesn't walk to be seen, she walks to be obedient. She doesn't rise to prove her strength, she rises to display his. This is the woman who no longer waits to be chosen. She knows she already is. This is the woman who no longer fears seasons of isolation because she knows they're holy ground. This is the woman who walks with heaven's authority because she's already wrestled with the silence, walked through the sorrow, and found her identity in the stillness. If that's you, if you've been hidden, if you've felt overlooked, if you've wondered if God still sees you, hear this now. You are not behind. You are being built. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. Your isolation has not been empty. It has been incubation. And when you rise from this season, you will not just walk into purpose. You will carry it. So type it, speak it, declare it boldly. I'm hidden, but I'm holy. You are not just waiting. You are becoming unstoppable.